Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
This is Ed in San Diego, and you're on Global TV Talk Show. And our very special guest today is also in San Diego, but 10 or 15 miles that way, east and in the mountains. Let's welcome again, Gregg Ward.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being on Global TV Talk Show.com. Anyway, Gregg is the founder and leader of the Center for Respectful Leadership. Now that is almost a mouthful, but it sounds like it's a think tank or a retreat, a mental retreat. Why don't you do a quick deep dive and what's the center all about?
I love the way you just put that, Ed. A mental retreat, because that's the eventual goal, is to actually have a location here in sunny San Diego where leaders can come from all over the world and begin to understand how important respect is. And so that's what we're all about. We are a training and executive coaching and a leadership firm helping folks understand the value of respect and what we call respectful leadership, how to implement it, how to create what we call ARC organizations, or actively respectful cultures. And there's a process to doing that. And we're finding that a lot of people are really gravitating to what we do because they're seeing a lot of disrespect in the world, and they're realizing that respect actually does make a big difference.
It certainly does, except when someone's dropping bombs on neighbors.
There's not a lot of respect going on there. And
really sick.
All we can do is argue vociferously and harshly for respect in every part of life. And that's not easy to do when people are killing each other. And all we can do is keep going.
Yeah. Now, this is not a political show, it's a business show, but right. We do want to talk about January 6th kind of thing and all the BS that's flowing from that now as we head into election season. But before we get to that, so I read with great interest that Cynthia Burnham, and you are allied. She's an advisor.
Yeah, she's part of our advisory council, and she's also been a collaborator in developing many of our training programs over many, many years. And she's awesome, absolutely awesome.
I first met her about 10 or 12 years ago, and then we sort of lost contact. So it was interesting to see her name in your post earlier. So the post in mention here, again, this is about the Center for Respectful Leadership. Yeah. Now, a lot of employees, mainly women, I think, have escaped, not quit, just escaped from a bad boss or some restrictions. Many women, particularly with kids at home, or even a little older, and there's a glass ceiling around them, they're saying, I don't need this anymore. I've learned that I could survive or something, and they quit, or they're looking for something else or the next opportunity.
Right.
That's part of what you're, well, it's sort of related to what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I don't know if you saw it, but MIT came out with a major study of why people quit their jobs during the pandemic. And the number one reason, they studied 21 million responses on both LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and Comparably. And the number one reason, which was 10 times more important than compensation, the number one reason was toxic work environment. And it was predominantly women who, you're absolutely right, who said, you know, I've had enough. Enough is enough. And they either quit outright, or they found a way to work from home and get out of the toxic work environment to the point where they could tolerate it, or they finally decided to go and find something else new and better. And so that's a serious issue when you've got a lot of people, really good people, who are leaving your workforce because it's a toxic work environment. That's very, very serious, and one we care, obviously, a great deal about.
Yeah, well, thank you for going deeper on that. Well, the theme of the post that I saw recently is about virtual, in other words, being remote, working remote. Now, I've been doing that for years, but a lot of people, from the corporate culture, it's 2 years old, so, or less.
Yeah.
You've been doing that for a long time.
Because I run my own company and it's virtual and we're always on the road, the whole team of us. And so it's always, I meet with my team maybe once a year if I'm lucky, in person. But the point is that you're right, Ed, during the pandemic, everybody who could, we do have clients who have manufacturing environments, and that created an enormous uproar for them. But everyone who could work from home was told you must. And there are 3 types of people who work from home. The first is what we call the virtual evacuees. These are the folks who had to get out of the office. COVID shut everything down and they went to work from home. And then there's the virtual immigrants. These are people who migrated to home over at some point in their careers or during the pandemic, and they found out that they liked it a lot. And they were really happy to keep doing it. And what's really interesting, Ed, is the studies that are coming out now. We're seeing that you and I, although we're what we call virtual natives, we've been working from home forever. But the folks who have been working from home during the pandemic and really, really like it, they are actually being more productive overall than if they were getting in their car or getting on public transportation and commuting into work every day. They're actually working in the evening. They're working on weekends. They're putting in a lot more quality time working on their jobs, which is very, very interesting. Try to convince some managers of that. I don't know. That's not so easy to do. But at the end of the day, you got 3 types of people working from home. You got your virtual evacuees. These are the people who are told, go work from home. And they actually like to go back to the workplace. They like that connection. They like the in-person. That's great. That's fine. And a lot of our organizations are going to hybrid work environments where they come into the office 2 to 3 days a week, work from home the rest of the time. Now,
I was just at a group meeting, an association that I've been a member of for 30 years, but I haven't been to any of their meetings in more than 2 years.
Yeah, me too.
So I went to one. It was Thursday up in Carlsbad at a golf course.
Oh, how was that?
So I went, and I'll tell you, it was great to do that. It was, I mean, it was good, and some people looked a little different.
Yeah. For better or for worse, huh?
Well, my hair got a lot whiter, I'll tell you that.
I hear you.
Yeah, but some others put on 100 pounds or so. I didn't recognize.
Yeah. The others are the virtual natives, as I mentioned. These are the folks who've been doing it for a very long time. They actually have a lot to teach us, because when most people were back in the office, these virtual natives were the ones calling in and having to deal with the fact that everybody in a conference room was talking over each other, and the virtual native is sitting at home going, "What? Who said what?" And a lot of people turned off, didn't have cameras on at that time before the pandemic. Now everybody's much more comfortable with cameras. So the virtual native has been doing that for years. And so overall, we can learn a lot from these folks, and they know how to navigate this work from home world, and they do it very, very well. I just wish we'd listen to them when it comes to developing policies for bringing everybody back to work.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by Porchlight Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
Stop dreaming and start living overseas. International lifestyle consultant Emily Braun can help you seamlessly transition to your new life in your dream destination. Whether you are a retiree, a digital nomad, or a mobile executive, Emily Braun can make your transition overseas a success. Visit emilybraun.com.
Coutalis is a global group with a worldwide footprint. With 16 agencies in 10 countries, Coutalis offers companies and mobile professionals a unique combination of HR services and options. Find us at coutalis.com.
Take your communication skills to the next level. Barbara Bolt of Bolt Global has a passion to make you shine. As our globe expands, effective intercultural communication and presentation is a must. Visit boltglobal.com.
So we have three kinds of people we're talking about, right? The virtual native, and
that's
then
the one that's been doing it forever.
Right, and then the evacuee.
The evacuees. Those are the ones that were told you've got to leave the office. You must go home and work from home, and they would prefer to be in the office. And then finally, your virtual immigrants. These are the folks who were told, go work from home, and now they're starting to like it, and they don't necessarily want to go back.
So let's talk about the people who have not been comfortable doing virtual meetings because there essentially has been no training about how to do a hybrid meeting or a virtual meeting in groups, whether it's one-on-one like us, or I had 10 people on a call last Friday, but we managed it, right? And everybody was sort of adept at doing it. But at other times I've had like 20, 25 people, and boy, was it tough.
Tough.
It was tough to manage.
I noticed it, Ed, right early on in the pandemic. I'm sure you did too, with a lot of people didn't know how to operate the technology. And it took like 5, 10, 15 minutes to get everybody into the call. Nowadays, most people are either using Zoom or WebEx or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet. And they're much more familiar. A lot of the technology is kind of the same. And so they're getting more comfortable with it. But I will tell you, I was on a call with some people not too long ago, a few months ago, where one of them had their screen separate from their camera. And so they were looking at the people and they never, ever looked at the camera. It was very, very odd and very kind of annoying that they didn't know by now. I mean, this was head of HR of a very large corporation. They didn't know by now that you're supposed to look at the camera or at least try.
Or there's something else going on in that person's head. Not being present at that meeting.
I think they didn't want to be at that meeting, I think, to tell you the truth. Even though they were leading the meeting, it was just very odd. It was very, very odd.
So you remember the old idea about body language, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here we have camera language.
Yes.
Right.
I teach it. For example, I tell people if you're one of those like me, I wave my hands around when I talk. Well, that can be very distracting on camera. So one of the techniques I have is just hold on to a pen and keep it
glasses
down,
or something.
or your glasses.
Right.
Keep it below. And looking at the camera, my camera is directly in front of my eyes. I always say, put the camera at the height of your eyes. And I've got a little sticky note. I can't see the camera in the bezel, whatever it's called. So I have a sticky note. It says, look here.
Yeah.
It's just little tips like that to keep people engaged. Although it's very hard not to look at the people on the screen.
Right. And it's taken me a while, and even now, it's difficult. But I'm still sticking with just the laptop little green light rather than get a separate camera and put it on my monitor, which is a huge thing.
Right, exactly.
And I think I'm going to get that. I'm going to spend a couple of bucks and do it.
It's worth it. I do have one, and it's over to the side, just up above, and it's got a little light. You can probably see the shadow. I put a light on it.
I can't see it.
Yeah. Okay, good. It's a little bit of light to you want your face to be the warmest thing on the screen.
Yeah, I've got this light over here.
Exactly. Now, because I wear glasses, I had to put it up and to the left.
Right.
Because if you put it right in front of you, like a lot of people do, then reflection.
Right.
We are pleased to welcome Adamo Education as a proud sponsor of Global TV Talk Show.
The concept of a microschool is the reimagining of the one-room schoolhouse. My name is Tamara Becker. I'm the president and CEO of Adamo Education. The microschool concept really does not just lend itself to the personalization and the customization of learning, but also the social development and fostering that sense of love for learning. Unlike what we see in traditional brick and mortar schools, we have multiple grade levels in the same learning space. Students can be enriched by the socialization that they get, as well as the academic support from peers. What differentiates Adamo is the fact that we are taking the best pieces of brick and mortar, of digital, and then at-home learning. Students here can come 5 days a week. They can come 4 hours a day. It will really just depend on what is best for the student and for the parent. To enroll, just reach out via phone, text, or email, and we'll have that personalized conversation, and we'll be able to get you all set. Check us out at adamoeducation.org.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
So let's talk about the center, and once again, just review to make sure it's really clear, because our audience is probably multitasking while they're watching this.
So we are primarily a training and coaching and consulting organization around the concept of respect and respectful leadership. We have a flagship program called the Respectful Leader Workshop, which is a 2-day, well, it's actually in person, it's 2 full days. Virtually, no one can stand to be on a virtual call for 8 hours a day. So it's 2 half days. And it's very interactive, very interesting. People find it very useful. We give them a lot of practical tools and techniques on training them on how to be what we call a respectful leader. For example, one of the big issues that a lot of people have is, how do you give feedback which you know is going to be received badly? How do you give criticism and feedback in a way that people can hear it and take action on it? Well, there's some psychology there, and there's some neuroscience there, and we teach them that. We teach them the techniques of doing that, and people come out of it. I just got an email this morning. I did one last week for a really interesting group of engineers who aren't comfortable with giving that kind of intense feedback. And I got an email today say, thank you so much for these tools. I've already put them in use. They're working really well for me. So primarily we're training, coaching, and consulting on respect and respectful leadership.
Now, let me ask you about the microphone that you're using. I'm asking you this because I'm still wearing these things, and but lately they've been bugging out, and I've been just so a little bit beside myself. Okay, now what do I do? And so I've been talking into the screen, not today because I'm still wearing these, and I see you are talking into the screen. Or do you have a hidden microphone?
Can you see my microphone here on the screen?
Oh yeah, now I see it.
This is called an Audio Technica. It's a omnidirectional microphone, but it has noise canceling capacity. It costs around $70. Now, I do a lot of media interviews and things like that, and I do a lot of teaching, so I have to have a really good microphone. And this one is well worth it. It's easy to use. Plug it into USB. You're in good shape.
Yeah. And what do you get it at? Amazon, Best Buy?
Yeah, you can get it at Best Buy. You can buy it at Amazon. Be careful at Best Buy. They'll try to sell you a $170 microphone that has all these high professional microphone, all these bells and whistles. You don't need that when you're doing Zoom calls, unless you're, like you're a professional in broadcasting or something like that. Then you're going to need a high-end mic. But this is a very good mic. Does a great job. How's my audio? Good?
This sounds really good and good bass quality.
Yes.
I'm concerned about that too. But
yes.
That's cool. And so
Yeah.
you can obviously hear me through your computer.
I'm listening to you through the computer, which has very good. It's a laptop with very good speakers.
Yeah, right. I've got beats. Yeah. Okay. Well, Greg, we have about 5 minutes or so left. What do you have coming up that you'd like to pitch?
Well, thank you for asking, Ed. What we've got coming up is our e-learning program has launched full swing. A lot of companies come to me and say, look, we can't spare our people to go to some 2-day workshop. We just can't do it. And I say, I understand. So we developed a series of e-learning, self-directed, self-guided programs on respect and respectful leadership. And we divide them up for individuals, people who feel disrespected and want to learn what to do, for what we call respectful leaders, managers and supervisors, a workshop for teams, and a workshop for people we call culture creators, folks like the heads of HR, the C-suite folks. And they're very interactive. There's a lot of videos, a lot of interesting stuff in there, very informational, non-confrontational, lots of good, juicy tools and techniques and concepts that you can use.
Now, quickly, what about sexist behavior and language and attitudes that are sort of ingrained? You know, I've got them.
Yeah.
So I mean, who doesn't? But in today's workplace, there's just as many women as there
absolutely
are men.
You know, that we have a more diverse workplace than ever before in the history of work. And so it's imperative that we as leaders, if we truly want to be respectful, we just have to think before we open our mouths. It's not hard. It's just you've got to be conscious. You can't just go unconscious and just say the same old stuff you've always said. Nobody's a bad person. I never want to say anybody's an evil person. Although, sure, there are sociopaths out there, but they're doing it deliberately just to destroy. But most people are good-intentioned, well-intentioned people. And if you just turn on your emotional intelligence switch, basically say, what am I feeling? Is what I'm going to say going to land well with the people that I'm talking to, or should I rephrase it? It's taken a microsecond to just check yourself. That's all. It's no big deal.
Well, we're talking with Gregg Ward, the Center for Respectful Leadership. And Gregg, that's Gregg.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, Gregg Ward.
If you visit us at respectfulleadership.org, you're going to find a lot more about us and this e-learning suite called the Roadmap to Respect.
That's terrific. Thank you very much. Come back again on Global TV.
Thank you for having me. Take care, Ed.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.